Hey guys, welcome back to We Watch Movie. I'm Mike.
I'm Jay.
And Unfriended Dark Web.
Fuck.
Shit, man.
Why did you do it? Why did you unfriend me?
We saw Unfriended last week. Unfriended Dark Web.
Dark Web.
Dark Web. So let's talk about that. We'll have spoilers at the very end because there's some interesting things to talk about this movie. But the movie in general, it's a Blumhouse movie. It comes out, and you guys seen Unfriended, the first one. The first one was it was ahead of its time. It was a cool movie because the whole thing took place on a computer screen, and it was very comforting. Like it was one of those things, and this is the same way. It's very comforting to watch because while you have these people on these webcams, the whole thing takes place on a computer screen, and so there's just a whole bunch of those. Like you ever just hear someone type and it's like click, click, click. It's like silence, but you hear them type and click.
Yeah,
and it's just
and you get tired and you want to like.
But it's comforting.
You get a boner.
But it's very inventive the way they did it. It's very ahead of its time. It's a really cool idea. And even though the first Unfriended had its problems, like one kid kills himself by sticking his head in a blender, like the blender would just stop. My blenders can't even make protein shakes. The second movie, in my opinion, is way better. It's totally worth going to see. In this one, it's Dark Web, which you guys, this guy, he picks up a computer from the lost and found in his coffee shop where he's working at. He's got a girlfriend who's deaf and he's trying to communicate with her. He breaks out this laptop. Meanwhile, he's also having game night with his friends who are all in college, different places of the world. One guy's in Britain, and it turns out that the guy's...
Well, is he in Britain though, or is he just like...
Yeah, he's in Britain. The one dude's in Britain.
Oh, is he? Okay.
So they're having game night. They're on Skype. But meanwhile, he notices that this computer he's taken has all these videos on him. It takes him into the dark web. It looks like Minecraft on a boat. But it's actually pretty creepy because like all of a sudden he's sailing and he's in this boat and they're going to these different chapters of the dark web. And he finds that this computer has all sorts of girls being trapped. There's this crew that's going out and capturing girls and they're paying, it's kind of like Hostel, they're paying these people to kill these girls on the dark web in different ways. There's a very, very creepy one about a girl who's actually currently kidnapped. The dude's describing what he wants him to do to her and he's like, well, what I want you to do is I want you to put a hole in her this time, but do it slowly, put a hole in her head. I'll pay double if you put something alive inside of it, but put a mirror in front of her eyes because I want to see her face when she sees it go in. And you're like, this is fucked up. Nate Maximore.
R. Kelly was online.
Yeah.
The characters themselves, the actors and actresses, I didn't hate any of them. That was surprising to me because I really went in thinking that I was going to fucking despise these douchebags that were being dumb and just making terrible mistakes, and they played it pretty well. They didn't come off as like superficial or like this is what I'm doing because I'm trying to get a role on Singled Out. MTV's coming back. Singled Out's been gone for a long time, but
next,
yeah, they weren't doing any of that stuff. And also, it was cool to see this. You didn't get to see much of what these people, like who they were, but from what I saw, and this is a non-spoiler, from what I saw in the movie, they're elite. They're an elite group of people that have a lot of money to burn, and what gets their Jolly Ranchers going and melting in the sun is watching people be murdered and tortured and brutalized in the worst possible, I want you in the worst way. They want to see some depraved shit go down. And this one dude, the main guy that stole the computer, I didn't like him at first. I really didn't because he came off as whiny and kind of pussified. You kind of get more warmed up to him as the film goes on, but you get his motive a little bit for why he did what he did. But as the movie progresses and you see, he does make some fucking moronic mistakes. Like, do not open a file or try to, explore a file that says hidden for a reason and then ask your nerdy ass friend.
You would though. I feel like you would do that.
No.
I feel like you would just at a random computer. You would click through that shit.
I don't want to see it.
Fat guy jingling his titties and dancing in front of the camera. You're like, oh, what's next?
I want to see it.
This is great.
What you do notice immediately from the first one to this one is the departure of the supernatural element to it, and you see more of a brutal, real world element that they introduce, and that's to me scarier. And I think that they should play on that more going forward. I actually, honestly, after the end of this movie, I was wanting to know more about this group, this mysterious group that was wanting to seal this shit. And I guess I'm fucked up because I wanted to, in Unfriended 3, if they did that, like shit, I'm still getting unfriended. That could be the subtitle. But where this group originates, what their purpose is, what exactly, why they're, like, I don't know, like something, like, it was really unique and different, and I'm glad that Blumhouse did it, honestly.
I want to see more of it too, and that's the coolest thing about this, is something that, like, it's got a, like, you know, in Sinister when they find the canisters, like, that was the best part of Sinister, is that they would find these footage reels, and every time one would play, you'd be like, oh fuck, I'm into this. Now, where the movie really pissed me off, and at first I thought we were going down a really bad lane, is that a lot of the kills they fucked up with the trailer, man. They fucked up with the trailer. They do show a lot of stuff in the trailer. There's a lot of kills that happen in the trailer that, had you seen them in the movie, it would have been way more, you know, in Signs when he's coming around, he's like, "Vamonos, children, vamonos," and you see the alien pop up. Like, there's scenes like her jumping off the roof. Several of the deaths are in the trailer.
And do a flip!
Belly flop!
Do it!
You're wondering what's going to happen next. It's very interesting. They're unfolding. It's a mystery, and there's several twists that are really good in the movie too that play out. And all in all, it's a horror movie that you go to see and you sit down, and it's not full of just bullshit, like typical shit you see in every movie. It's got some interesting twists and turns. It's got some. The death scenes aren't great, and a lot of them you see in the trailer. But the fact that someone can do this, because when this group decides to kill one of them, they show them how they find their address.
Right.
It says, oh, look, I'm going to go to your Facebook profile, I'm going to go to your work profile, I'm going to go to your LinkedIn, I'm going to
They're hackers. They're elite hackers.
You see it coming, and it's done really cool, and it's done really well. And the way that the movie ends, we'll get to in the spoilers, but ultimately, like, it's a mean movie, and I can appreciate that. We both saw different endings of the movie, which we'll get into here in a second, but what is your rating for it before we get into that?
I mean, honestly, guys, I'm going to give it a 7.5. I enjoyed the fuck out of it. I don't think it's original as fuck. I don't think... I mean, there's been movies like this that's kind of not exactly like the internet and, like, using the dark web as the background piece to tell the story, but
Do you like to watch?
I don't want to do that, because that bitch was scary as fuck. But it was unique enough that I never found myself bored watching the movie. Like, there was a few points... and I never do this in horror movies. I actually leaned over in the theater scene, was like, what's going to happen? Like I was really into the next phase or the next step that they were gonna tell the story in, and I liked it that they didn't rely. There was like maybe one jump scare, really.
The story carried it.
Yeah, the story. That's what I'm saying. Like, I was relying on the story to carry me through to the end. I would love for them to continue the dark web exploration. Don't go back to the supernatural. I don't need it.
I give it an 8, dude, because it's one of those movies. It's not a movie that everyone's going to be talking about, and everyone's like, it's so scary, it scared the fuck out of me. It's not that, so it's not going to get that level of buzz. But as a horror fan, as a movie fan, you're going to go and you're going to sit down and watch it, and it's unplot holy enough to make you believe what's happening. Like, there's certain things that happen, like when the bad guys will appear on screen, it'll pixel out perfectly, and you're like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's fascinating to watch. There's 2 separate endings. There's no way of knowing which one you're going to see. We went to different theaters, and we both saw different endings. But in my ending,
mine's best.
The whole movie is it's the same thing, but the main guy, the All-American Rejects looking guy, and he's out in the middle of a street.
Dirty little secret that could have been playing the entire time. That actually makes sense.
On a bike, and these people they're talking to him. They're like, should he live or should he die? Because basically what you find out is that this is all being ran by like an anonymous type hacker crew, and they like to watch these girls die or whatever, but they purposefully left their laptop in this coffee shop because they wanted to frame these people for these murders. Now this ties into both endings, whichever how you look at it. But the difference is, in the ending I saw, the dude's in the middle of the street, he's trying to meet his deaf girlfriend. The hacker group puts up, should he live or should he die? And it takes like a full minute for them to vote. So as an audience, you're sitting there waiting and you're watching these votes calculate, which is pretty cool. And at the end of the day...
It's like the Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton. What's going to happen?
At the end of the day, like 90% of the people want him to die. So, and it's kind of bullshit.
Was it the popular vote?
Yeah. But he's sitting there and he's on his phone, and then all of a sudden a van comes out of nowhere and runs him over. Van hits him. Now, it's dumb because, A, you would have seen a van hit the speed it needed to hit in the middle of the street to hit you and kill you. But still, yeah, it's a pretty cool, like, shock. Like, a van just goes, zoop,
I guess maybe...
fucking hits him, he's dead.
Maybe, like, one of those moments, if you're just, like, on the street with your bicycle...
But it's in the dark, you would see a van, you would hear it,
maybe,
something.
But you might get shocked of the fact that it's coming right at you.
But it's a plot hole, but it's alright. It's whatever the fuck. But in either way, both endings, the camera pans out and you realize that game night is actually what these hackers are doing. This is the hackers' game night. They planned this whole thing to happen. They've been watching the entire thing, and they've been wanting to watch these people die. But the only difference is the main character dies in 2 different ways. So that's my way. The way you saw was completely different.
He had a feather tickle his butthole till he fucking died of frustration. No, Jesus Christ, there's some things you just don't talk about, man. And she's there. When the guy arrives, see, in yours, he was on his bicycle in the middle of the street, and they had this vote thing. When the guy arrives, like, dude, they didn't give a fuck. He walks over, and there's already a grave dug. And he's like, oh. And then this guy runs out the back with a shovel, like, fuck! And like conks him and like throws him in the fucking thing into the gravesite. What you see at the end of mine is that the girl's like on her phone and she's like, "Where are you? What's going on? I'm here now." And you hear the ringing or whatever, and then boom, he's in the casket or the coffin, buried underground, and he's suffocating. And what they've done is
Ryan Reynolds.
Buried. That was a great fucking movie. You guys need to check that shit out.
Acting powerhouse.
It was great. But you see him, you know, he's got his phone. They left him his phone. He's got his phone, and you know, he's trying to answer the phone, and the girl's calling him, and he's like, "I'm right below you," and he's trying to scream at her, but they blur his mouth out so she can't read his lips because she's deaf. And then he's like, "Well, I'll text you," and then he's like, "Help," or whatever, or 911, and they hacker his shit, and it's like, "I wish I could sign better. I wish I could sign better. I wish I could," and then it pulls out, and while he's screaming, he's like, "I can't breathe. Oh my god!" And it's I think I got the better ending because that shit's claustrophobic as fuck, and it was scary as shit because you're dying in a coffin buried under the ground of a girl you love, literally right above you, but you can't fucking talk to her.
Yeah,
and that was scary. And the entire time I'm thinking, as it's pulling back, and this guy's eating his popcorn and eating his hot dog from Dairy Queen, is that this is what happens when Geek Squad gets mad from Best Buy. Fucking pay your bills, motherfucker. Or like, these are all the Radio Shack employees that got laid off.
Meanwhile, in both films though, what was really fucked up is the girl I mentioned before, who they're wanting to put something live inside of her head. First off, the British dude gets hung in the closet in a creepy fucking way.
They framed everybody.
They managed to bring back that creepy found footage feel that's believable and actually scary because it's legit looking, like they hang him on the closet door. But also, this girl breaks out of this closet and she comes up to the mirror, or to the camera, and it looks like she has a penny.
I thought it was a penny, yeah.
She rips it off, and there's a fucking hole in her head, man, and she starts screaming.
But he didn't put anything in it.
Right, no, I actually didn't go all the way.
Well, I thought like some like hot dog was gonna go boop, boop, boop,
it's like, is it true you had both the twins in December? No, I didn't go all the way with her.
What's coming out of your head?
But she screams, and it's really dark, and you know, it's a low budget because it's Blumhouse and they did what they did, but like, that's why I give it an 8, man. Like, I thought it was a really great, entertaining movie. It's pretty cool what they do with 2 different endings. That's pretty futuristic, whatever. I dig it. I would definitely watch it again if I was showing somebody else it who hadn't seen it. So, and I would watch it again anyway because there's something soothing about sitting in the theater and watching all that clicky.
I don't know what that means about us. That it's soothing watching this guy get hacked and fucking life destroyed.
It's weird, but comment down below. Let us know your all's thoughts. We love your fucking faces, and if you're new to the channel, click that subscribe button and get some goddamn wham up in you.
That was a nice one. You need to check your.
Felt that shit in my butt.
Yeah. Don't fucking unfriend me.
We watched a movie. Yeah. We watched a movie. We watched it. We watched a movie. Yeah. You know what? We did a review. We watched a movie. We watched a movie.